Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Out of the Park Baseball 26 series, Rescue the Rockies. And before we get this episode started, a big day today, Friday, February 13th, in the Out of the Park Baseball universe. The new version of the game, OOTP 27, officially announced with a trailer today, and it will be available just 4 weeks from today on March 13th, 2026. So we've got a lot of work to still do with these Rockies. I've been talking about we'd like to see our great pitcher, Leo Martinez, and our great right fielder, Kevin Roberts Jr., who have both been cornerstones of the now 7 titles that we've won with this Rockies franchise, would like to see their careers through, and clearly we're going to have to pick up the pace of what we've been doing if we intend to finish this adventure with OOTP 26 before we get into OOTP 27. So probably will change the content of the episodes in the next couple of weeks. Won't necessarily go as in-depth and won't necessarily have, as we typically do at least twice a year around the International Amateur Free Agent signing period and the first-year player draft, pauses for the Worldwide Scouting Department to opine on those, and sometimes also give time when we're thinking about free agents or even just trades and some other decisions. We thought about expansion a few months ago and gave the Worldwide Scouting Department time to opine on those things. Probably will be a bit less of that as we do try to get through several more seasons with this team. So just a programming note that the pacing of the episodes and the content of the upcoming episodes will likely be a little bit different going forward as we scramble with these Colorado Rockies, with OOTP 27 now officially looming. For those of you who haven't seen the trailer yet, you can obviously see it on the Out of the Park Development's webpage or YouTube, any place that you go for those type of things. 2 key changes that were most interesting to me. They noted that they have improved the trade AI, which I hope will be helpful. And they have also revised the difficulty settings. So the hope is that with an improved trade AI and potentially even more difficulty settings to make things a little more challenging than before, that the new version of the game may be a bit more challenging than it's become in recent years, given that there haven't been monumental changes from year to year in many cases. But we'll find out more about that in about a month. In the meantime, our Rockies have been playing very well in this month of July thus far. We're now at the All-Star break after a poor month of June, and we're tied for first place in the NL West with the Colorado Rockies. Left things at the end of the last episode talking about some trade options and interesting feedback from a couple of Worldwide Scouting Department members whose opinions I respect and who are now longtime proven members of the WWSD. But when we were talking about trading for Mr. Norton, a potential starting pitcher to bolster the back end of our rotation a bit, Ravenspawn 3 said, no, don't really need to do it. DLL First Base 14 said, yeah, probably a good idea, could improve the back end of the rotation a bit. And we've made a decision on that trade, so obviously we can only follow one piece of advice from them, and we have made the trade for Brian Norton. So we are bringing on the starting pitcher who was previously with the last place Seattle Mariners in the final year of his contract, making decent but not incredible money. And we are going to plug Brian Norton in as the number 4 starter in our rotation. He'll give us a little bit of insurance in case we do have some injuries. So we ultimately went with the recommendation of DLL first base 14, bringing Norton on board and trading a few guys for him. But one thing that Ravenspawn 3 also did mention was potentially moving on from Juan Silva, and he was a key part of this trade. Silva, who we picked up about a year ago, had been pretty unproductive as a rental for us. Getting Silva, we had to pay 5% of his contract, so it was essentially negligible on those terms. He was going to be a free agent after this season anyways. Just has not produced offensively the way that we hoped. Will stink to lose a left-handed bat against right-handed pitching, but he's been so unproductive offensively, and he brings so little to the table defensively that there was no hesitation on our part in moving on from him. We also had to include a 35-year-old minor league pitcher, Phil Murphy, who we signed as a minor league free agent this year. He was 4-5 for us in AAA, not a big deal there. And we did finally officially part ways with the tall tactician, the Dutch shortstop Hendrik Jan van Gorkum. Never made it to the majors with us. I guess he did technically. He had a call-up a couple of years ago, 16 at-bats over 7 games, and he actually hit pretty well. But the 27-year-old, who was a big IAFA signing of ours many years ago, versatile, good defensive player, never really loved his bat with the way it developed, and he was hitting 250 and 228 at-bats for us in AAA Albuquerque this year. It looks like Van Gorkum is going to get the opportunity to play in the majors for Seattle, so good for him there. But he was not a big part of our future as a 27-year-old who's been in our organization throughout his career and only got in a brief cup of coffee with those 16 major league at-bats that I mentioned. So when we look at the pitching staff, as I mentioned, we're going to slot Brian Norton in as our 4th starter, keep the young left-hander Mike Witherspoon as our 5th starter. Bernie Barrera moves into a long relief role for us. He's hit an ERA of over 6 this year. Will still be an emergency starting pitcher for us. Barrera has the opportunity to opt into a final year with us next year. But he does have that Iron Man in terms of his injury proneness, and he is a guy, despite his down year this season, who has led the National League in wins 2 of the previous 3 years. So feel that builds a little bit of redundancy into our rotation in case we do have some injuries. Pretty confident that Martinez, Russell, and Hoffmeister will be the top 3 starters for us come playoff time if they're healthy. Now between Norton, Witherspoon, and Barrera, we've got guys to mix and match for the 4th and 5th spots. With the addition of Norton, we did send the former first-round pick David Guadron back to AAA. And lineup-wise, with us moving on from Silva, that allowed us to bring John Jefferson back up. You may remember he had been injured. We had him in AAA on a rehab assignment where he hit 444 with an OPS of over 1,000 and 27 at-bats. Clearly doesn't have anything left to prove at AAA. Jefferson will become our everyday first baseman going forward. As I noted, that leaves us with just 3 left-handed bats against right-handed pitching, which is not necessarily ideal, but given that Silva had been so unproductive, at the very least we've upgraded our defense in the infield, and we're also going to be giving a 24-year-old who still has an opportunity, we think, to improve regular playing time at the major league level. So not necessarily anticipating we're going to do much of anything else between now and the trade deadline, which is a little more than 2 weeks away. Feel like moving on from Silva and hopefully upgrading at first base, and hopefully slight upgrade to the back end of our rotation is all we really need to do. But injuries could change that, and if the asking price for an interesting reliever, for instance, happens to come down over the next couple of weeks, maybe we try to do something else. And another reason that we were willing to trade Silva, besides his complete lack of production, was that we actually signed a minor league free agent, Jefferson Rojas. 36-year-old, is wrecked physically. We had to give him $200,000 to sign him to a minor league contract. But he's got a good personality. He can play multiple positions, pretty good speed. The bat, certainly nothing special at this point, but does give us, if we have some injury issues in the infield, another acceptable option as a utility infielder if we need. You can see he defaulted to AA. We'll probably promote him to AAA, maybe even force start him at third base there for the foreseeable future, just so if we do need him, he's as versatile as possible for us defensively. Even at 36 years old, we'll see if we can teach Mr. Rojas some new tricks. And heading into the final 3 games before the trade deadline, playing well coming out of the All-Star break, swept a series against Pittsburgh, took 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, and also took 2 out of 3 against the Cubs. 3 games left at home against the Marlins before we officially get to the trade deadline. Mike Castro, who had been having a relatively unimpressive year for us compared to what we've come to expect from him, really starting to heat up at this point. National League Player of the Week, hit 500 last week, 14 for 28 with 3 homers and 80 ribbies, and you can see his numbers here as we head towards the end of July. 271 average with 18 homers and 57 ribbies are starting to become pretty solid. Would be nice if he could pull that batting average up towards the 300 area, which is where he was in his early years with us in Colorado, rather than the 270 number that he's kind of been around the last couple of seasons. But still good to see some progress there from Castro. And we ended up taking 2 out of 3 from Miami, so a very strong month of July in the books, and we are officially past the trade deadline. Taking a look at the standings, we've moved to 3 games ahead of the Padres in the NL West. So we started the month 4 games behind them. We're now 3 ahead of them, so feeling very good about how the team is playing after that rough month of June. Kevin Roberts Jr. has been playing really well of late, has the batting average up to 2nd in the NL, although to be fair, he's around 30 points behind Sansao Samaro for the batting race, so very unlikely to win a batting title. Roberts Jr. now ranking 3rd in the league in batter WAR and still tied for the longest hitting streak in the league this season. None of our pitchers among the league leaders at this point, but still feeling much better about the team with this month of July in the books. 21-5 record, won over 80% of our games, so a very strong bounce back from what we did in June, and easily the best month we've had this season. Ranked 2nd in the National League in runs scored and 2nd in the National League in runs allowed. So though it's been a bit of a bumpy path to get to where we've gotten, we're back in first place. We've got a 3-point lead in the division, and when all is said and done, one of the top offenses and one of the top pitching staffs in the National League as we try to prepare for these last couple months of the season, hopefully guide these Rockies back into the playoffs, and hopefully ultimately earn a first-round bye. The Braves continue to have an outstanding season. They're 9 games ahead of us for the best record in the National League. I think it's unlikely we'll be able to catch up to them over the last 2 months of the season. So the main thing at this point would be to hold off the Reds and the Pirates, and obviously hold off the Padres and hold on to the division, and at least earn a first-round bye when all is said and done. Over in the American League, the Yankees at 65-43 have the best record of anybody there, so they're also a bit better than us. The A's just a little bit worse than us. The Astros were having a great season. They were at one point 57-41, but they have now lost 10 in a row. Still have a 3-game lead on the Rays in the AL South, but that race has gotten a lot tighter since the All-Star break. And as we continue moving forward through the season, the good news is with about 2 weeks left in the month of August that we've remained healthy. The results on the field have certainly been more mixed. We took 2 out of 3 at San Diego, and then we swept Milwaukee. After that, though, a rough stretch, losing 2 out of 3 in Atlanta, and then we were swept on the road against Salt Lake City. Since then, though, playing better, swept a series in Washington, and we took the first game of a series against the Mets. As I mentioned, a little less than 2 weeks left in this month of August. As we take a look at the standings, the lead over the Padres is only 2 games, and we remain 9 games behind the Braves in the battle for the best record in the National League. And the best record in baseball is actually we're also in a flat-footed tie with both the A's and the Yankees right now at 74-50. So probably not going to catch them. The key thing that we're going to have to keep an eye on over these next 6 weeks or so is whether we can hold off the Padres for the division and avoid ending up in a Wildcard series on the road, most likely against the Pirates, the Reds, or the Cardinals. And some more good news as far as the injury situation. Jeff Colson, who got hurt about a month and a half ago, now back and healthy. You may remember he made the team out of spring training this year in part because he is out of option years, but with just 10 games left until September call-ups, we are going to put him on a rehab assignment in AAA, so we don't have to make a roster move since there's not necessarily an obvious roster move to make with our pitchers, and presumably Colson will be one of our 4 September call-ups in about a week and a half. And, of course, just as I was feeling confident, perhaps too confident, on the injury front, starting catcher J.D. Lee, day-to-day with a strained oblique for the next 4 weeks, impacts his hitting, his throwing, and his running. Lee hitting just .231 this year, 7 homers and 46 ribbies and 308 at-bats. Only a 77 WRC plus, only 0.6 above replacement in terms of the wins he's provided. Now 34 years old. We are going to send him to the IL and likely call up the youngster Elliott Bedford, probably give him an opportunity to play every day. It'll put us in a situation with Lee on the IL where we've only got 2 left-handed bats in the lineup for the time being, but at this point we've extended our lead in the division over the Padres to 4 games. You can see we've won 10 in a row at this point, pushing our record to 80-50. Still 7 behind the Braves for the best record in the NL and the best record in baseball. But we've been talking about Elliott Bedford for many years right now. This is his last year where he has options, so it will be a good opportunity for us to see what he can do as a somewhat regular player in the coming weeks. And August ended up being a good solid month for us, even if it was not as spectacular as the month of July. We've made it 2 September call-ups. We'll decide on those shortly. Team statistic-wise, a 19-9 month in August. Our 83-53 record, just 1 below expectations at this point. Still second in the National League in runs scored. Still second in the National League in runs allowed. You can see we're generally in the top 3 or 4 in most offensive categories, and generally in the top 3 or 4 in most pitching categories as well. The defense has been solid, stealing a lot of bases, although our base running is pretty average at this point. With 1 month left in the season at 83-53, we are 4 games up on the Padres for the National League West title. Our magic number is down to 23. And we've closed the gap for the best record in baseball on the Braves to 4 games. They have lost 7 in a row, which has certainly helped us with that. Taking a look at the leaderboard with a month left in the season, Kevin Roberts Jr. and Eric Mokeen, second and third in the league in hitting, but well behind Samaro. Kevin Roberts Jr. now tied in a 3-way tie for the league lead in steals. You may remember last year in his 30s, he set a career high with 49 and led the league in steals for the first time. He also ranks third in the league in batter war, still has that 21-game hitting streak from earlier in the year. Pitching-wise, Jesse Hoffmeister, 14-7 record. His 14 wins are tied for second in the senior circuit as we get ready for this final month of the season. No games will move over into October in the regular year, so literally just have these next 4 weeks ahead of us before we will figure out what happens with our Rockies as far as our playoff seeding here in 2041. And we've made our September call-ups, 2 pitchers rejoining us, really no surprises with the names. Colson, as we mentioned, finishing up that rehab assignment, although he's got a little bit of a blister, so we're going to sit him for today before moving on. Also brought David Guadron back up. They'll both be long relievers. Colson also will fill in as a middle reliever for us. Norton, the pitcher that we picked up, off to a really nice start, 4-2 record with a 2.78 earned run average over 45 1/3 innings in his first 8 starts with us. So he is definitely making a strong case to be our 4th starter come playoff time, as Witherspoon's ERA is ballooned to 9. Bernie Barrera has gotten his ERA down to 5.26, working out of the bullpen more regularly, but still with what we've seen from Norton, could end up being our 4th starter come playoff time. Position player-wise, a couple of additions. Brought up the center fielder David Marsh, 24 years old, hit just 254 in AAA. He's been in AAA for the last 2.5 years. Really not a big-time prospect, but he does have decent range in the outfield, has a little bit of speed. Almost 25 years old, as I mentioned, former second-round pick, looking like a 4th or 5th outfielder in a best-case scenario. Given his age, we don't mind if he just sits on the bench and is an occasional pinch hitter or defensive substitute for us. But more interestingly, we're promoting Mario Manriquez to the majors, and we're going to see what we can do to get the left-hander into the lineup. He'll definitely be taking at-bats from either John Jefferson or Alex Gomez. Manriquez was our 2nd-round pick 2 years ago, now in 2039. Split this year between AA Hartford, where he hit 299 and 144 at-bats, and then he hit 269 and 271 AAA at-bats for us. Capable of playing just about anywhere in the infield, and as I mentioned, is a left-handed bat. A little bit better against right-handed pitching than left-handed pitching, at least in terms of avoiding strikeouts. Gap power a little higher, and the eye a little better. So we're going to do what we can to get him regular playing time against right-handed pitching for the next month. Don't necessarily think Manriquez is going to be a superstar, but we still think he's got a fair amount of untapped talent, and we'll see if we can continue to get him closer to reaching his potential here in the majors. And ultimately, we're going to swap in Manriquez at first base against right-handed pitching for John Jefferson. Jefferson hitting just 232 for us this year. Did have that short rehab assignment in AAA. Pretty much been an everyday player for us when he has been healthy and on the major league team. Still like his potential, but he is a bit older than Manriquez, and he's a right-handed hitter. So Jefferson will remain our first baseman against lefties. Hopefully we'll still get him some time against righties as a pinch hitter. But for the next 4 weeks, we are going to see what Mario Manriquez can do against Major League pitching. And we've had a bit of a weird start to September following September roster expansion. Won both of our games against Philly. Then we were swept on the road against Cincinnati and just completed a sweep of Pittsburgh at home. So adds up to a 5-3 record here in the very early going of September. Still have a 4-game lead on the Padres, and we remain 4 games behind the Braves in the battle for the best record in the NL. We do have pretty significant leads over both Pittsburgh and St. Louis at this point. So as long as we can hold off the Padres, we look to be in a pretty good position to, at the very least, ensure a first-round bye. And who knows, maybe we can continue closing the gap on the Braves over these next 2.5 weeks or so till we get to the end of the year. And 2 weeks, 12 games left in the season. Just put a good one in the books. Swept 3 games against the Dodgers, and then we took 2 out of 3 against the Cubs. Looking ahead at the next week, we're going to be at Miami and then home against the Padres. Interestingly, we're going to be finishing the season with 3 games against Atlanta. Weird quirk of the schedule, but those could be very important games. We've now clinched a playoff spot, but we are 3 games behind the Braves for the best record in the National League and the best record in baseball. Unfortunately, we've actually lost a game in the standings to the Padres over the last week. Despite our 5-1 record, they're now just 3 behind us as they were 6-0 over their last 6 games. You can see the veteran Mr. 5 Tools, Kevin Roberts Jr., continues to be all over the leaderboards. 3rd in batting average, 2nd in steals, 2nd in OPS, and 2nd in batter WAR. Still tied for the longest hitting streak in the NL this year. Jesse Hoffmeister now tied for the league lead in wins and 3rd in the National League with strikeouts. So a really nice season for him thus far. And although we took 2 out of 3 against Miami, the big series against the Padres not off to a good start. Lost the first game at home against San Diego 5-4. So standings-wise, only 1 game ahead of the Padres at this point, with 2 straight against them. We are both teams that could end up with 100-plus wins, and one of these 2 teams is going to be in the Wildcard round. We hope it doesn't end up being us, but they continue to have an incredible run. They've won 10 in a row. And some bad news, the lefty reliever Roberto Ramirez, who we traded for last offseason, shoulder inflammation. He's going to miss 4 weeks. So particularly if we have to play a wild card series, we'll certainly be missing him for that. Likely would miss a divisional series as well. If we're fortunate enough to make it to the NLCS, maybe we'd have him back then. 1.83 ERA over 39 1/3 innings pitched. 6-1 record, 15 shutdowns to 3 meltdowns, and he struck out 12.6 batters per 9 innings, put up a 1.3 WAR. So a very successful first season in Colorado for Roberto Ramirez, but unfortunately the regular season, at least for him, is now officially over. And with the injury to Ramirez, 23-year-old Ryan Harville, former 7th-round pick, is going to get the opportunity to make his major league debut. No question about his stuff. Do question how many home runs he might give up and how many walks he's going to allow. Had a 7-4 record with 22 saves in AAA for us this past year. 4.17 ERA, 1.1 wins above replacement. But the whip was a pretty ugly 1.45 as he did walk 31 batters in the 49 and two-thirds innings that he pitched for us. Certainly not expecting him to be incredible here at the major league level, but we'll try to turn lemons into lemonade with the Ramirez injury and get another look against top-flight competition for another one of our prospects. And unfortunately, we ended up getting swept at home by the San Diego Padres. So although just days ago we were talking about perhaps chasing down the Braves in these final 3 games of the year to have the best record in the National League and or the best record in baseball, the Padres have now won 12 in a row, including those 3 straight against us, and they are a game ahead of us in the standings. Now we are 14 clear of the second wildcard spot, so certainly we made the playoffs weeks ago at this point, but would prefer to avoid a wildcard series on the road against Pittsburgh or Cincinnati. So we're going to need a strong final week of the season to ensure that that will not happen. Obviously, the 3 games at home against the Braves could be very important, but we've also got 3 on the road against the Milwaukee Brewers at 80 and 76. They are still competing for the National League North. Reds, Cardinals, and Brewers all separated by just 2 games, and pretty unlikely that 2 of those teams will make the playoffs. I guess it's possible 2 of those teams will make the playoffs because the Phillies are the only other team that's a realistic threat to be a wild card at this point. But the Brewers' postseason future is certainly not guaranteed, so they'll certainly be pulling out all the stops against us as we're trying to catch the Padres. We're now 4 games behind the Braves, so if we sweep the series against the Brewers, we do have 3 straight against the Braves. Can't say that I've ruled out the best record in baseball, but certainly our primary focus at this point is going to be getting past the Padres and defending that NL West title that has become a bit of a birthright for us over most of the last decade. And as we get ready for these final 2 series of the season, we do have J.D. Lee back and healthy. Elliott Bedford goes to the bench. He hit a .197 for us in 61 at-bats. Did have 3 home runs, 4 doubles, and 10 ribbies, so he was productive when he did make contact, but with 22 strikeouts and 61 at-bats, making contact was a bit of an issue for him. He's been up with us the last couple of years. This was certainly the most extensive look that we've gotten at Bedford, but certainly going to be playing J.D. Lee down the stretch in these now very meaningful games for us. And the good news is the Padres' long winning streak finally came to an end. Unfortunately, we lost our first game against Milwaukee, so the Braves, the Padres, and the Rockies all lose today. Normally, at this point in the season, when we've typically had a pretty big lead in the standings, something like that would be fine for us. But given that we're chasing both the Padres and the Braves, wasted an opportunity to make up ground on them. And with just 5 games left, time is definitely getting short for us to get a division title and very short for us to try to pass the Braves. And fortunately, we did snap our 4-game losing streak, taking the final 2 games on the road against Milwaukee. So 3 games left in the regular season against the Atlanta Braves. Unfortunately for us, both the Padres and the Braves have won 2 in a row also since the last time we checked in. So we cannot catch the Braves in the standings. Our best hope is to catch the Padres, who we're a game behind at this point. Mentioned that we were just swept by the Padres, looking at the team versus team standings here for us, and our Colorado Rockies 4-8 against the Padres this year, so a tie is going to go to the Padres, unfortunately, so we're likely going to need to sweep the Braves and then hope that the Padres go 1-2 in their final series of the year to realistically get by them. Obviously, if they get swept, a 2-1 record would do it for us, but we could be playing in a wild card series, which is certainly not something that we've become accustomed to with this Colorado Rockies team. And we lost in 10 innings to the Braves yesterday. The Padres also happened to lose, but now we need to be perfect at this point. Bottom of the 10th, Arias got hit by a pitch by our closer Schweitzer to drive in the winning run. So certainly not ideal. Schweitzer drops his record on the year to 4-6. Didn't allow a hit, but he walked 3 batters, allowed an unearned run while striking out 2 over 2 innings. Eric Mokeen was the pitcher of the game, but at this point, 1 game behind the Padres with 2 games to go and them having the season series on us. The only way we get the division at this point is if we get 2-0 over these last 2 games and they go 0-2. And we did get a win yesterday against Atlanta, but unfortunately the Padres also won, so we are going to be a wild card team despite potentially having 98 or 99 wins this year. Looks like we will most likely be facing off against the Cincinnati Reds, but things are obviously very tight between the Pirates, the Phillies, the Reds, and the Cardinals. Pirates have clinched the division at this point, but the Reds still could end up with the same record as them and possibly, depending on the tiebreakers, be a better seed than them. Looks like the Phillies and the Cardinals at this point are fighting for that final wild card spot behind us. And a piece of bad news, right fielder Phil Dingwell is going to be dealing with back stiffness for the next couple weeks. Minimal impact on hitting, moderate impact on running. The former supplemental first-round pick from 11 years ago is wrecked physically at this point. This is likely his final year with us. He plays primarily against left-handed pitching, making almost $7 million. As we talked about, wrecked physically, going to be 30 next year. Did hit .268 with 12 homers and 37 ribbies and 224 at-bats for us. So a 114 WRC plus. He's a productive offensive player when he's in the lineup against lefties. But his health for the playoffs definitely in question at this point, unfortunately. And we did win game 162 against Atlanta, so we finished the year at 99-63. Although that's the 3rd best record in baseball, we're still a wild card team, as the Braves have home field advantage for as long as they're alive throughout the playoffs. And the Padres edged us by a game for the National League West. Kevin Roberts Jr. Did hit over 300, finishes 3rd in the batting race, 3rd in the league in steals, 3rd in the league in batter war. Pitching-wise, Jesse Hoffmeister ends up leading the league in wins with 17 and 3rd in the league with strikeouts with 223 at this point. Unlike a lot of previous seasons, our playoff run is going to start tomorrow, and we will unfortunately be on the road for a wild card series against the Cincinnati Reds. And it's not necessarily going to be a great matchup for us. You can see we were 5-7 against Cincinnati this year. And even though game 162 didn't matter, I stupidly wasn't looking at things closely and ended up letting Leo Martinez pitch. So may have completely set myself up. So we are in really big trouble. Mentioned earlier at the start of this episode with OOTP 27 coming out in a month, I was going to start trying to run through these series faster and trying to get through this episode. Definitely some negligence on my part, not checking who was scheduled to pitch game 162. Been so used at this point to having that first round playoff bye that unfortunately just made a stupid mistake. And take a look at the run for us here, and hadn't lost the division since 2029. We were second back then. This is the first time that we've lost the division, so 11 straight division titles, and that run is over. We also have 5 straight 100-plus win seasons. That run is over with the 99 wins this year, and we're going to be on the road for the playoffs. And we might as well just play this playoff series right now. Mention that we're going to have to get these seasons moving quicker. It's possible we may have an early exit, in part due to my negligence, as we've talked about. On paper, 99 wins for our Rockies versus just 85 for the Reds, so you would think we could be big favorites, but as I mentioned, they took the season series from us, winning 7 out of 12 against us. They are the one team with 866 runs scored that has a better offense than our Rockies in the National League. Pitching staff does favor us. We finished third in the league in runs allowed, while the Reds were 13th. We've got Jesse Hoffmeister, 17-9, led the league in wins on the mound. For them, Josh Krasinski, 25-year-old right-hander, was 7-10 with a 4.51 earned run average. But the Reds do have home field advantage. We'll see if we can steal game number 1 of this best-of-3 wildcard series in Cincinnati. And we do get a 12-4 win. Hoffmeister with the W. Krasinski takes the loss. 4 home runs for our Rockies. Kevin Roberts Jr., Ron Davis, Mike Castro, and Carlos Barrel Davila. Take a quick look at the box score here. And 2 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, 3 in the 6th. Gave us ultimately a 7-1 lead. We added... or an 8-1 lead, if I could do some simple addition. We added 4 runs in the top of the 8th on the way to the 12-4 victory. A lot of offense, particularly from the top of the order. All 4 of our top hitters hit 2 or 3 hits. 4-hit day from Davis as well. Bottom of the order, Gamez and Lee combined to go 0 for 10 with 4 strikeouts and left 9 batters on base. So that was certainly not ideal. But a very good game from Hoffmeister. 7 hits, 1 walk, and 8 strikeouts over 8 2/3 innings. Does end up allowing 4 runs, all earned, as he gave up those runs in the 9th inning as they tried to come back. Bernie Barrera got the final out for us. But we will move on to the month of October now and see if we can... get this series won and then perhaps stabilize things as far as the way our pitching is set up. And thanks in part to my stupidity of pitching Leo Martinez in game 162. He did win the National League Pitcher of the Month in September, for whatever that's worth. Held batters to a .225 batting average over 40 2/3 innings, 36 strikeouts, and a 1.99 ERA with a 4-2 record in September. The veteran finished the year 16-7, led the National League in games started and innings pitched, put up a 4.5 WAR for us. So a really nice season from Martinez. Hopefully we will get an opportunity to see him again this year. We've got Brian Norton, the guy who we brought on as a rental 5-2 record with a 3.63 ERA, put up a 1.1 WAR for us, so he was a good solid fourth starter for us. As we anticipated, did have problems with the long ball, allowing 9 home runs in 67 innings pitched. On the mound for Cincinnati, the 28-year-old righty, Roy Kochman, 10-7 record with a 3.84 ERA and a 1.5 WAR. And our Rockies beat the heck out of the Reds and Kochman, 17-2 victory. So 29 runs for our Rockies in 2 days, and we will be moving on to a divisional series matchup. So positive news there. Home runs from Kevin Roberts Jr., Davis, Castro, all hit home runs again. 2 for Davis. Today, he ends up being the series MVP. Gamez hit a home run as well. I'm guessing this box score is going to be very fun to look at. 17 runs on 21 hits. All of our starters had at least 1 hit. House and Dingwell. Dingwell playing for us, at least as a backup outfielder despite the back stiffness at this point. 3 ribbies from Castro, 3 ribbies from Castillo, 6 from Davis, obviously helped by those 2 home runs. Norton with a really nice outing, 5 hits, 3 walks, 1 earned run over 6 1/3 innings. Witherspoon and Colson in the relief. Kochman gave up 4 runs over a couple of innings. You can see their bullpen had a lot of issues. Mike Castro injured after getting hit by a pitch pending elbow injury. That could be a significant issue for us, unfortunately, but we do at least move on to the divisional series. And Castro with a bruised elbow that's going to keep him day-to-day for about 4 days, so hopefully not the end of the world. Minimal impact on his throwing, but should not be a significant issue for our center fielder, which is a very important thing. And 3 of the Wildcard series were sweeps. We obviously swept the Reds. The Phillies swapped the Pirates. They'll be facing off against the Padres. The Red Sox swept the White Sox. They'll be facing off against the A's. The Baltimore Orioles took 2 out of 3 against the Houston Astros. They'll be facing the Yankees. And we get the best team in baseball, the Atlanta Braves. I guess the positive thing is, despite the fact that we had to play a wild card series, we've got the rotation set up just the way that we'd want it, with our number 1 starter, Martinez, and our number 2 starter, Bob Russell, in games 1 and 2 in Atlanta. And by the time we get back home, it'll be Hoffmeister and Norton, the guys who pitched in the wild card series for us. The Braves at 102-60, the best record in baseball, 3 games ahead of us. We split the season series, 6 games apiece with them. They were 5th in the National League in runs scored. We were 2nd, so our offense a little better. But they were number 1 in the National League in runs against, while we were 3rd. So their pitching staff a little bit better. But very evenly matched teams, obviously, with the 6-6 record. Only 3 games separating us in the standings, over 162. And although we scored 29 more runs than them, they allowed 11 fewer than we did. So should be a very good matchup here in the divisional series. And we'll find out how that divisional series, and hopefully more than that in the playoffs, goes next time around. We'll also be doing our review of the season, whether we have 1 playoff series, 2 playoff series, or 3 playoff series ahead of us. We will wrap up the season next episode as well. Until then, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.